In this video, we're going to look at the Australian legal system. We're going to focus on two areas: classifying laws into different categories and also the court structure or the court hierarchy system. So firstly, classifying laws. We can break them into private law and public law to simplify. These are our two main areas of law. So private law in blue here deals with how individuals interact with other individuals, their rights and duties. This includes tort law. Within tort law, there is negligence, defamation, nuisance, and trespass. Contract law, property law, and family law. A part of private law as well is civil law, which we will look at a little bit more in detail to compare to criminal law. Civil law is a part of private law and it deals with non-criminal matters. So the main areas of civil law are tort and contract law. This allows individuals to bring actions against other members of the public for a civil wrong. So this is where a plaintiff sues a defendant because they have had a civil wrong done unto them. So public law is concerned with regulating people's behavior and protecting freedom. And it also deals with conduct society that expects from the government. So it sets kind of a type of behavior that we want from society that protects other people from the harm done by others, and as well also deals with the government. So this includes industrial law, administrative, criminal law, and constitutional law. So criminal law we will focus again on in a little bit more detail as a part of public to compare to civil law. And criminal law involves behavior considered to be unacceptable by society. It's deserving of prosecution, this behavior, conviction, and punishment. So criminal law will go through this. It is a criminal act, it's unacceptable, deserves to be prosecuted and convicted, and punishment. Another way to break the two apart from each other, criminal versus civil law, is that criminal law comes under private, and in criminal law we see a prosecution versus a defendant, whereas in civil law it is public and we see a plaintiff versus a defendant. And this example here might be a petty theft or someone being accused of a small crime. The plaintiff brings the case to the court and we have the defendant there depicted as a criminal. So criminal law, we can break the types of offences into two categories: more serious crimes, which are known as indictable offences. So these are serious crimes such as armed robbery, homicide, child abuse, murder, and sexual assault. These are usually heard in the district and Supreme Courts, we'll look at in a moment, and heard by a judge and jury, versus summary offences, which are less serious crimes, so smaller crimes such as minor assaults, petty theft, vandalism, and traffic infringements. These are dealt with relatively quickly and cheaply by a magistrate, usually in lower level courts. So this takes us to the court structure and the hierarchy. So like a bit of a pyramid hierarchy here, we can see at the bottom, we have local court where there's no jury. This at the base also involves children's and the coroner's court. And then we move up in terms of level of power and authority, and also the seriousness of the crimes. So less serious crimes are dealt with at a lower level. As the crimes increase in their severity, they can move up the levels of the hierarchy. And as well, appeals will generally move up. So an appeal in the local court might then be seen by the district court, or an appeal in the district court might be seen by the Supreme Court. So we have local, district, supreme, and then the High Court, where there again is no jury, just these 7 judges that you can see sitting at the top here, and that is the highest level of court in Australia. So firstly, local court. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. There's over 160 local courts in New South Wales. There's no jury in these courts. Instead, a magistrate hears the cases, decides the verdict, and sets punishment. A magistrate can imprison any defendant for up to 2 years. So that's their maximum. So that you can see again that this is only dealing with smaller crimes that might require imprisonment up to 2 years. deals with minor civil disputes, e.g. People suing other people for damage to property or injury up to $100,000. Once it's over $100,000, it moves up to the next level in the courts. So this court hears summary offences, which we remember are the minor criminal law matters, such as stealing, drink driving, assault, and possession of drugs. Down the bottom here, this is our local court with the magistrate. He presides over, or she presides over, committal hearings dealing with indictable offences. So for the major, more serious crimes, they will start at the local court, and if they are deemed to have enough evidence, they will go to trial in a higher court, then they will move up, but they'll start off in the local court. They'll also hear bail applications and applications for AVOs, apprehended violence orders. They can also issue arrest and search warrants here at the local court. The two other types of court at this base level are the children's court, which deals with children under the age of 18, and they have different staff who are better able to deal with children, and also the coroner's court, which deals with kind of unexplained deaths and sometimes fires and explosions to work out what was the cause of death in those instances. So we can kind of see that the local court can become a bit of a specialist, an expert court in their certain area. They'll focus on one part of the law, these kind of lower level laws, and become more efficient with dealing with that. Whereas other types of court will deal with their own types of offences. So the district court is also known as the middle court. It's located in Sydney and some regional centres. Cases here are heard by judges, not a magistrate like in the local court. They also deal with more serious civil cases for claims over $100,000 up to a maximum of $750,000. So we saw that once a civil case is over $100,000, it will move up from the local to the district court. If it is over $750,000, then this matter will move up further again. They will also deal with all MVAs, which are motor vehicle accidents. So they deal with serious criminal matters such as armed robbery and burglary. So sometimes this district court has a jury, and then if they do, then the judge would decide upon the sentence after the jury hears the case and comes to a decision. So our next level up, the Supreme Court. This is the highest within the state of New South Wales. So they deal with the most serious criminal cases such as murder, treason, and serious sexual assault. They are also the most serious civil cases. So once we get over $750,000, they will go to the Supreme Court. So you can see how they move up the ranks. They also deal with appeals from the two lower courts. So if someone appeals a sentence in the district court, then it can get bumped up to the Supreme Court. Our last one is the High Court at the top here. So this is located in Canberra. It deals with appeals from the state or territory Supreme Court. So these are the really big cases. They also hear cases concerning interpretation of the Constitution. So constitutional law. They're the highest court, so they make the final decisions. They have the highest authority and power. And any decision that they make here can apply to the whole country. So especially when they're interpreting the Constitution, they can be setting precedents or setting laws which will then apply to the rest of Australia. You can see there's 7 judges here and no jury. So that is a little bit of a summary of both criminal law and civil law, being public and private, as well as our hierarchy of the